This podcast is a part of the Podmania podcasting network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling. Hello guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your now weekly audio source for all things world-wondering Stardom, right here on the Podmania Podcasting Network. I'm your host, Rob Good, and I'm joined, as ever, by Chris O'Brien. Christopher O'Brien, how the devil are you?
I'm always slightly scared when someone calls me Christopher, because it's like, oh, what have I done? Shit.
I only ever get called Robert by my mum. Ever, and that's when I've done something wrong. I don't think my girlfriend's called me Robert in the entire 10 years we've been going out, so she's called me Bob, but, you know, that's because it annoys me.
Bobbert.
And that as well, weirdly enough.
I'm very close to hitting my film goal.
Okay, do elaborate.
I set my New Year's resolution at the start of the year was to average two new films a week, and like under new, I counted things I hadn't seen in several years.
Okay.
And so that would be 104 films overall, and I am currently on 101.
And you think you're going to watch those last three films before December, do you?
I mean, like, I'm going at a fairly good rate.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine, mate.
To be fair, most of that is actually in the back half of the year, because I was like averaging one a week, and then uni started kicking my ass, and like just nothing, absolutely nothing. And then like the first month after uni in like June or July, whenever it was, time's a fucking illusion nowadays. It was all just spent catching up with stuff I actually cared about, and then we got really into film, apparently out of nowhere.
Fair enough. And then of course you had lockdown, which helps you because you've got more time to watch films.
Literally, I'm just sort of like, okay, I'm gonna apply for jobs for a couple of hours. Let's watch something.
How is lockdown 2.0 treating you?
I just don't. I just the whole thing was I was gonna get out of uni. There was gonna be a decent amount of jobs. I was gonna find one, and then I can actually like continue my life. But like, no, none of that. None of that. It's great. I'm having a great time. It's great.
On
the bright side is hot chocolate season, so I've been indulging in that quite a lot.
Of course, you are becoming more and more like an old woman. Like, each episode, you are becoming more and more like an old woman. I hope you realise that.
What do you mean?
It's hot chocolate season. I've been indulging in some lovely hot chocolates.
It's quite bad because like I have to like be tactical because my brother doesn't know how to keep his fucking hands to himself sometimes. So I have to buy hot chocolate I know he doesn't like. So I basically only drink white hot chocolate because of it.
Your brother doesn't like white chocolate?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't like white chocolate. To be fair, everyone has weird things they don't like.
Yeah, but I'm sure not liking white chocolate is one of the signs of the Antichrist.
I mean, like one of my brothers is called Damien.
Holy shit, is it him that doesn't like white chocolate?
No.
Oh, imagine.
No. He doesn't like most things. He really likes drinking.
Well, it's funny you should say that because apparently my girlfriend got that bored today that she decided just to get trashed. Sunday, we can't do anything, so I'm going to drink gin. The last of which was, I reckon it was probably 75-25 gin lemonade.
You know what, though? That's a fucking mood.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in this corner of the world.
I've experimented with so many beers during lockdown. Like I found some of my new favourites.
Go on then. Power rank your top 3 new beers.
Top 3 beers tried for the first time in lockdown. Okay, so Eau Peculiar, really good.
Very good. Yeah.
I couldn't drink a lot of it though. It's a good starting beer.
Yeah, it's not one you want to be when you're 4 deep.
No. Guinness Milk Stout is actually really nice, but like again, you can't drink a lot of it because it's really, really, really gassy.
Basically a meal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, my dad actually told a story about how my granddad used to drink milk stout because they'd want to get a buzz on, but they wouldn't want to get pissed because their wives would leave them or something. So, so they drink milk stouts because by the time you couldn't drink enough of it to actually get drunk.
Mm.
And what will the last one be? It will probably be one from Williams Brothers, and I'm going to say Iconic. It's really good. It's an American pale ale, and it's really, really nice. I could actually drink loads of them. But to be fair, my go-tos are still the banana bread beer, which is delicious, and then Nuki Brown, because
memories.
Yeah, and then like if I'm really sad, whiskey.
Whiskey is the go-to drink, absolutely. I think I recommended this to you in January, but Waggle Dance is a fucking beer and a half. You should absolutely try that.
I'm because of lockdown. I am basically limited to what's in my local Asda. I refuse to pay co-op prices for a fucking beer because that's fucking disgusting. Basically, pub rates. Fuck off. And
calling out co-op.
Yeah, fuck. Look, it would literally be as cheap if I wanted a nice beer for me to fucking get trashed in one of the pubs. Okay, fuck the co-op.
It would be cheaper to brew your own beer than pay co-op prices.
Yeah, but then that would take ages, and I'd probably drink it too early and get sick. I've lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
I have no idea, mate. I've been struggling to keep up with you the entire podcast.
Ambassadors for podcast in general.
The entire run of 18 episodes.
Yeah, I'm going into the future. This is what happens when you make me watch a fucking Tag League.
Well, now that you've mentioned Tag League, we are here to talk about the final 2 days of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, so nights 8 and 9. Just very, very quickly before we delve into those, fully aware that Korakuen New Landscape was on the 14th, but at the time of recording, one match was up on Stardom World, and that didn't go up until about 5 o'clock British Standard Time, so there's no point us reviewing that. And I know that Sendai Cinderella was obviously today as well as we record, but again, nothing is on Stardom World, so we can't review those. I just want to run down, for those who haven't seen on our Twitter, the sort of timetable, the sort of schedule for what we're going to be recording and when, because apparently Stardom have decided to put all of their fucking shows in the next, 3 weeks. So this is basically what we're going to try and do. So obviously today, November 15th, we're going to do the Stardom Tag League Finals. Next Sunday, the 22nd, we're going to do Stardom Sendai Cinderella 2020, as well as Korakuen New Landscape. Tuesday, December the 2nd, we're going to be doing Stardom Mutsu Tournament from the 28th of November. Sunday, December the 13th, we're going to do the Toyama tournament from the 6th of December. December 22nd and 23rd, fingers crossed, if it is up, so that is subject to change. We're going to do Stardom Osaka Dream Cinderella 2020. On that day, we will also release our ballot for the Stardom Cast End of Year Awards. And then on Wednesday, December 30th, again, subject to change, it will be Stardom Year End Climax 2020 and the Stardom Cast End of Year Award results. So that is going to be a mammoth, but I'm sure very, very fun show. So make sure you tune in for that.
That sounds like a perfectly lovely way to whittle time towards the grave.
Oh, you're in one of those moods, aren't you? I can tell.
It's like, oh no, it's this Chris. The many moods of Chris.
Let's delve straight into it then, Chris, with night 8, 7th of November from Shinkiba First Ring in front of 140 people. So we started with singles action, Hanan defeating Rina at 4 minutes and 20 seconds with her jumping cross armbar. Just a showcase, basically, for Rina's new Oedo Tai get-up, heel persona. She's definitely changed her in-ring style. There were little nuances. You know, there wasn't the Hannah-inspired ring entrance. She was slapping the hands away when Hanan went for a handshake. The sort of crushing Hanan into the corner. But there were bits where she was notably nervous about doing it, which is absolutely fine. She's 14. It's something completely different to her. So I'm sure she's going to grow into it. And what better way to showcase this new heel persona than to have her lose in 4 minutes, which didn't make a lot of sense, especially when you could have had someone like Hina or Ruaka take the pinfall. Didn't make a lot of sense, like I say. But, Chris, Hannon's armbar was incredibly seamless. Very, very impressed.
Yeah, to be fair to Rina, she did win a 4-way on the match from the third against Azumi, Natsupoi, and Ruaka. So, like, she's not completely dead in the water. She's going up against someone who's like above her on the food chain. To be fair, also, yeah, Hannon's getting a lot better, like significantly. Like her and Saya are one of the better parts of this tournament. So, yeah, no real complaints. The only real thing I have to say about this match is it went 420. Nice.
In line with that, I gave it 4 stars. Nothing really you need to check out really in this match.
Yeah, just don't bother.
Match 2 then, and it was a 3-way with Starlight Kid defeating Saya Iida and Ruaka at 6 minutes and 4 seconds with the Kichan bomb. Chris, opinion on this, please.
I'm happy that the Kichan bomb finally got hit.
Do you know what? Genuinely, I've written that in my note. Starlight Kid finally hits the Kichan bomb for the victory, and I've never been happier.
It's been 34 years.
It was a case where she went for it, and I was like, someone's going to come from somewhere and boot her. And just no one came, and it was like, oh, this is great. Fantastic.
Finally.
It was a nothing 3-way. Really, but there was some notable bits of comedy. The chop circle was hilarious, where Ruaka would chop Saya Iida and Saya Iida would chop Starlight. And obviously, of the 3 people in the match, Saya Iida has by far the stronger chops. And after about 4 of this sort of circle going round and Saya Iida chopping Starlight lost her temper and tried to make the chop circle go the other way because it was obviously really, really hurting.
Please beat reverse card.
Which is just, it really, really tickled me. She showed the results of these chops on Twitter, and fucking hell, like, Saya Iida apparently has a very, very, very hard chop. Poor Starlight Kid.
What it reminded me of...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry. What it reminded me of is there was a match I saw at Progress between Walter and Eddie Kingston. Mm-hmm. And Kingston started by just chopping Walter a million times, and then Walter chopped him back just once, and then Kingston went to chop him, but then just collapsed.
I love that you've drawn a parallel between Saya Iida and Walter.
I mean, like, I'm sometimes scared that, like, Saya Iida's like Walter's estranged Japanese daughter.
I haven't asked you your thoughts on Ruaka. Obviously, she's only been in a handful of matches since we've been doing the podcast, and I'm not 100% familiar with it. I'm not sure how I feel about her, in ring. I know I think she's 16, so she's got loads and loads of time to grow. She offers something completely different to, your Hina, your Rina, your Hannon. But I don't know. There's something. I don't know whether it was just a bit slow, this match from her. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she's fine. Clearly a bit green, but again, she's 16, so that's to be expected. She kind of just falls into the background of the children for me. Like, most of the time when I'm taking notes, I don't even take note of what child it is, and just like whoever versus the child.
I think that's what it is. I think she is the least interesting of all, as you put it, the children. And that's not to say she's bad by any stretch of the imagination. Again, she's 16. I think she just came across in this match a little bit more green than in the previous match that we reviewed of hers. Again, like I said, I do like how she offers something completely different. I think she could be like that big bruiser when she sort of grows into it and gets a little bit more experience. So that I do look forward to. But this, like the previous match, I gave 4 stars. Absolutely nothing you need to be checking out from this match, apart from the chop circle, which legitimately made me giggle. Match 3, it was a 6-man tag match with Meena Shirakawa, Mayu Iwatani, and Tam Nakano defeating Hina, Azumi, and Momo Watanabe at 11 minutes and 26 seconds with the implant DDT. Chris, something's not right here. And
one of these things is not like the other.
There's little nods to Descent in Stars, and there's a couple of things that I've picked out. Now, I could be reading far too much into this. I do have a habit of that, but I don't think I am. So Tam Nakano has brought in Meena Shirakawa as part of Stardom. At least that's what we're led to believe. And obviously Tam Nakano is now bringing in ZZ, who has now been obviously officially unveiled at Sendai Cinderella, but for the sake of this podcast, I'm not going to say who it is. But
it's Candy Floss. It's not
Candy Floss. I knew you were going to say it's Candy Floss. I don't know why, but in the back of my head, I was like, he's going to say it's Candy Floss.
I wish it was Candy Floss.
But from what I can gather, there's been a Twitter message, and from the way Mayu is in this match, it seems that Mayu has had no say in this whatsoever. And there's just little bits of this match that, like, during the pre-match promo, she forgets that she's actually teamed with Meena Shirakawa before. She says this is the first time we've ever done it, and Meena has to remind her that, no, we have teamed before. And whilst this might be Derpy Mayu, which, you know, is reasonable, I don't think it is. And then, skipping ahead to the end of the match, they do a very good job of framing it. So you've got Meena and Tam Nakano on one side, and you've got Mayu, when they're celebrating and Daichi Moriyama holds their hands up, you've got Mayu on one side and Dream H on the other side. And it just seems like there's a little bit of a rift, and there's a brilliant photo on Twitter of just sort of the gap between them. And I think we could be going somewhere with this, Chris. What do you think?
That's certainly possible. It is literally hard to know when Mayu's being a dick and when she just doesn't know what's happening around her.
Yeah, yes, admittedly, she does forget a mask on the next night, and she did forget her shorts in this match because she was wearing Starlight Kids. So it is hard to take her seriously. I will grant you this.
Like RBA figures in Japanese wrestling right now, but all fucking serious. When you have like May just like fuck, where's my shit? Yeah, I think there could definitely be something like that. Because to be fair, both Shirakawa and Tam are getting much better as a team.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something that we're going to put across during this podcast, I imagine.
Because on the night before, with the match between Julia and Micah and Shirakawa and Tam, they were actually working really well, really fluently. Shirakawa was actually starting to get her offense to look good. So, like, if there's a split coming, she's at least getting better fairly fast. But yeah, like with all things involving Mayu, it could be possible, or it could just be Mayu being Mayu.
The match itself is much of a muchness. I would pay money, like good money, to watch an Azumi and Mayu program, because that would just be incredible. They had flashes of it here, and they had flashes of it on in Night 9, and just I would love to see that as like a proper program where they get 23 minutes in the main event sometime. I think that would be absolutely incredible. There's a great moment where Azumi flips over the corner pad and drags Mayu with her feet face first into the corner pad, and it was just so seamless and so inventive. I'm constantly impressed by Azumi and constantly terrified at the fact that she's only 18 and is this fucking talented. It does get a bit scary. Obviously, Meena, it's all centered around Meena, as so many of these matches are at the moment. She withstands a significant amount of Queen's Quest pressure. I mean, like, she gets the shit beaten out of her. There's one moment where Azumi's got her in a camel clutch, and Momo just kicks the shit out of her. Just absolutely belts the shit out of this poor girl. She does manage to stand up, hits Hina with the implant DDT for the win. Tam celebrates by touching her boobs, which I can only hope that this stops after Tag League, because
I noticed it a lot more in the 3 shows I watched going up to this.
Exactly.
Like, I hadn't noticed it before, but it's like getting more and more apparent as time goes on.
It's something that I don't need to see. They're a good team. They've got good chemistry. We don't need this. Fingers crossed, like I say, it stops after Tag League. But yeah.
What do you want to bet someone on Twitter? It's just going to go, oh, you snowflake again, Selfish.
Bring it on, brother.
But like, But like, I know it's the same. The way if I'm gonna like frame my problem with it, it's the same way where have you ever seen Suicide Squad? I swear this is going somewhere.
As in the DC film?
Yeah.
I fail to see how this is going to go somewhere, but yes, go on.
Like, you know how like Harley Quinn's like ridiculously sexualized the match to the point of being distracting, to the point where even though the film's bad otherwise, but like it makes it even worse because you just sort of like, can you just stop this now?
The film is dog shit, yes.
It is absolute dog shit. It's kind of like that where I'm just sort of like, I guess it's not that big a deal, but also it's really distracting. Can you just stop?
Well, it is shit, but it's also really, really easy to watch.
What, Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
No.
It's a good background film.
I mean, like, yeah, it's a good film where if you can put it on and not think, which most people I know who like it just don't know how to think. So, yeah, that's why I'm talking to you, Damien.
So you're comparing Meena Shirakawa to Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad.
I mean, not directly, just...
No, I do agree to a certain extent, because at the moment they're putting it over as the only feature that she has is her boobs, which obviously we know isn't the case, because, you know, in the last podcast we said how much she was improving when she was the...
She also has a back fist.
Oh god, that back fist.
It's the one thing she should drop. There was a point in this match where we did like how stars normally do like the triple super kick, but instead of that she did the back fist, and I'm sort of like, you just made what's normally all right just actively worse. Why did you do that? You're athletic enough to do a super kick.
But yeah, so like I was saying in the last podcast, she's become really good at fighting from underneath, being that underdog babyface star. But we both said that something she needed to work on was her offense, and here I thought her offense looked significantly better, and that goes for 9-9 as well. So we need to stop putting her over as, you know, a good wrestler, not just someone who Tam has a crush on. It needs to stop, because it's tacky, it's cheesy, and it's not what I want to see in my wrestling. And from the people that I've seen on Twitter and everything, they're pretty much saying the same thing. So
yeah, there's ways to do this. Like the Golden Lovers towed that line pretty well, but I don't know. I think there's a way to like actually be good about it, and I don't think we're doing it very well.
Like I said, aside from my little conspiracy theory about stars, not a lot to see here apart from the exchange between Mayu and Azumi, so I gave it 5 stars, nothing offensive.
I actually enjoyed this match more than you did, I think, and it's mostly just because, like, 4 of the 6 competitors are great, and then you have, like, a child and a rookie. But, like, for what it is, I thought it was just really... Like, I actively enjoyed this match. It's probably the first match on the show that I actively enjoyed.
Fair enough. What would you give it?
A 6. I won't give it that much higher.
Oh, fucking hell. I thought you were going to go like full on 8. I thought you were going to like start... No, fine. So I will raise it to a 6. That's absolutely fine. I have no issue about that. So match 4 then, tag league action again.
Oh my god.
With Aphrodite defeating Colour Me Pop at 8 minutes and 43 seconds with the German suplex. Interesting note, Chris. This was their first win.
Right, before we get into like the booking, I need to talk about Goku Handa for a second, because the clown now has emotions. She was really sad when she couldn't reach Tall Saya. Like, really sad. Like, you could see it in her eyes. It was so weird. She shouldn't be expressed. The clown shouldn't have emotions. And then, like, apparently she carried Riho on her shoulder. That was kind of funny, but like, it's still distracting because it's a fucking clown. Why is this still happening? It's awful.
Genuinely, I found that spot really, really funny. And the fact that they kept trying different things and then going back. I mean, you're never going to get, especially with Death in this current incarnation, you are not going to get a serious match. And I think you've just got to take it for what it is. You know, she's dressed like a clown. You're not going to have a 4-star match out of it.
I'm not like looking for like a good match. I'm just looking to not be actively terrified.
I think that's your issue as opposed to an issue with the match.
I've watched too much. I've read too many Batman. Like, have you read the Batman? Have you read Death of the Family, where Joker rips his face off? and like wears a mask over his own face. I'm really scared about what Death's gonna do.
I don't think you've got anything to worry about, mate. I don't think she's going to go full Joker.
That's what we thought about Bray Wyatt, but then look what happened. He's went full Joker.
Something completely different.
Is it really?
I really enjoyed, again, for a death match that was 8 minutes long. I really enjoyed Saya Kamatani in this match because we saw a different side of her. And I don't know about you, but she's carrying herself a lot differently in a far more confident way. When her and Utami come down to the ring, she's strutting to the ring and
no chance, dude.
Full on arms going. She's improved so much, not just in ring, but the way that she feels like a real prospect for the future, like someone who in 18 months is going to be absolutely amazing. And, from where she's come from in January to that person that was superimposed onto the Queen's Quest image on Twitter to actually feeling like a cemented part of this stable. She's a champion in Stardom. And let's face it, she's doing a really good job. She's improving every match she has. I think she's done stellar work. And this match is a perfect example. It's something completely different. And she does well in it. I mean, it's not a great match, for God's sake, but it's okay. There's also like that subtle little storyline going through that Utami's got a weird thing for Riho. She adores her, and Saya's like proper jealous. I really quite enjoyed that. And then, yeah.
I like that when Utami put her off of Death's shoulders and she's just holding her like a fucking child. Or like in The Bodyguard, just fucking Whitney Houston starts playing in the background.
Yeah, aside from this, it's standard fare. I do feel far more invested in Saya Kamatani as a champion. Utami is fantastic. And
especially now, in Saya's case, especially now that she has a non-high-flying finisher that she introduced on the previous show.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. She's got that power finisher, and that's something that we spoke about with Azumi a couple of episodes ago, that to really finish off a moveset, she needs something other than an armbar and effectively a roll-up, which Azumi Sushi is. She needs, like,
it's a good one,
a driver or something, an impact finisher that she can break out.
Burning hammer.
Yeah, break out the burning hammer. So I gave this 5, Chris. What did you give it?
I cannot fairly rate Gokuhan Deathmatch. Well, after like the fairly funny start, it just kind of became your standard deathmatch. And I always have this weird thing in my head every time I talk about death, because when I say deathmatch, I'm like, wait, was there like cheap? No, it wasn't it?
Piranha tanks? No.
Oh shit, there was it. But to be fair, from a 97 project, it was a Joshi deathmatch, and oh my fucking god, I don't like deathmatches. I don't know why I added it to the watch list.
Match 5, more tag league action then. Grab the Top defeated Devil Duo at 10 minutes and 45 seconds with an Argentine backbreaker. I spent probably about 30% of the last episode ragging on Oedo Tai and their pretty directionless booking. But credit where credit is due, over these 2 shows, I thought their booking was significantly better, and shock of the day, when we don't have these tropes, when we don't have these nonsensical finishes, we have good matches. And this is what this was. I thought this was a really good match, Chris.
Yeah, this was a fun match. When you say they have more booking, their booking right now seems to be, yeah, we really don't like Momo.
No, that's B's booking.
Yeah. Oh god. Wait. Yeah, but the chains actually started to be used in a non-shit way. It still shouldn't. It's still a bad weapon because you can hear it from a million miles away. Like, I don't even need to have the volume on. If I was watching it live, I could just mute it and I could hear it all the way from here. But yeah, I think what helps is that Oedo Tai is personality. Did you see the promo that Shiri and Himika cut at the start of this? What does Shiri call him? Oedo Tai's pig and Oedo Tai's green bean or something?
Pig and the bean sprout.
Yeah, which, like, damn, that's what some bitchy ass promo.
That's about as bitchy as it comes, really, isn't it? Like, that's like relatively harsh.
It's like in last year in the 5-star where Hannah, on the first day, Hannah versus Tam, and Hannah was just like, today, face Tam Nakano over shitty little trash panda.
I enjoy... They seem to be, especially Saki, who potentially gets a little bit of a bad rap from me, and I do want to quantify the fact that I do have no issue with Saki in ring, or Tora in ring. And in fact, the thing that infuriates me most is I know they're capable of such good in-ring performances, which we've seen flashes of in this tag league, that match against Momo AZ, which was fantastic once they got rid of the weapons. This match where you've got very distinguished characters. You've got Tora, who's the brawn, and you've got Saki Kashima, who is effectively like the chicken shit, sneaky little heel. And that dynamic they've got with each other really, really works, but we don't see it enough. In this match, it worked really well, and like I say, they're in the ring with Shiori, who I repeatedly cannot say enough good things about, and Himika played this really, really well. She tossed Saki Kashima around so fucking much in this match. I did really feel for Saki. Between this and the match on the next night where she gets dropped on her fucking head, I did really feel for Saki. But as an overall match, this is one of the better Oedo Tai matches post Kagetsu and Hazuki, because there was no bullshit, there was no shenanigans, it was just an out-and-out match. Yes, they lost, but they can recover from losses. That's what heels do. Heels don't win in the end. That's just storytelling. They're going to eat losses. And
unless you're Triple H.
Unless you're Triple H, yeah. 2003 Triple H. But here, I enjoyed everything Tora did with Shiori, everything that Himika did. I thought she was great in this match. And usually I'd just be going off about how good Donna Del Mondo were, but I want to give praise where praise is due to Oedo Tai, because I do spend most of my podcasting time shitting on them. So, yeah, fair play. Really good match. Enjoyed it. I gave it 7 stars.
It was enjoyable. But like saying you're the best Oedo Tai match in this tag league is kind of like saying you're the wettest puddle in a desert. Just of course you have. It's not many puddles, but it was good. Again, I don't think Shiri's had a bad match in this tag league. She just sort of always brings out the best in people. And again, with Oedo Tai being mostly personality driven, going up against people like Himika and Shiri really helps, because like you have Himika, who is basically a 7-foot tall brat, and then Shiri, who is expressive to the point of being annoying. So it did work. And yeah, it was solid. And I didn't go as high as 7, I went 6. I just think it was a solid wee tag match.
Speaking of Oedo Tai, our main event then was another tag league match with Black Widows defeating Crazy Bloom at 15 minutes and 45 seconds with the Queen's Landing. Black Widows continuing their unbeaten run up to their 5th match. This was great. This was really, really good. I think it is, if not joint, I think it is the best showing for Black Widows in this tag league. I don't know if you saw this, Chris. It was being circulated on Twitter. Konami did some sort of spread in a magazine, and the magazine's name escapes me at the moment, but she was saying about how her and B are technical wrestlers, so they look to finish their matches, whereas Tora and Saki have to rely on weapons. And I thought that was really interesting to then go into the match on night 9. I thought that was really interesting, and that does explain, I suppose, why we get so many finishes with Black Widows as opposed to Devil Duo.
Yeah, this is probably the best performance so far, I do agree with you. Although B. Priestley's really starting to get on my fucking tits.
I'm going to say now, aside from anything outside of the promotion, because I'm just not going to discuss that, as a heel, she is fantastic, because legitimately she makes me hate her. And there's a difference between making me hate something and making me want to just turn it off, which is what I was concerned about with Oedo Tai in the last podcast. Bea Priestley, with the odd exception, she is a really, really good heel because I do properly hate her, and I can't wait to see her get her ass handed to her. And what is the point in her heel? It's exactly that. I can't wait to watch Sendai Cinderella, and hopefully, because I've managed to avoid the spoilers so far, I really hope Syuri beats her ass pillar to post. And surely that is what a good heel does. Yeah, she's maybe a bit too vocal, and, you know, her promos are starting to get a bit repetitive, especially on her hatred of poor Momo, but as a heel, I don't think we can really ask much more of her.
She sort of zigzags through that line for me, where it's like, oh, that's actually really good heel heat, and then just piss off being Dinwia, like, and it just sort of zigzags between. And I kind of get why she's the loudest, because, you know, she's on New Japan TV a fair amount, and actually where she normally zigzags into fuck off territory is when she starts doing Osprey shit.
She did shout Osprey when she hit Cheeky Nando's, which that annoyed me. Yeah. I will grant you that annoyed me.
Yeah, like it just sort of it zigzags for me, and it's been never like too far out of the please piss off line, but it's still present. I guess I do want to see Syuri hand her ass to her, but to be honest, I just think that every time in the Syuri match, it's like I really hope Syuri really kicks this person really. To be fair, again, because the Oedo Tai is so personality driven, with the exception of Konami's sort of like the weird silent killer. Going up against DDM is perfect, especially Julia, who's actually really turning it around for me. She's actually really starting to like express personality, which was my biggest problem with her before.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, I'm happy with that. Like Micah, we were talking about this earlier today. Micah's getting really good at selling fatigue. Like she's really good at both her and Willie Shirakawa are really good at ragdolling.
Yes, they are. Absolutely, I agree.
And I'm legitimately worried about Micah sometimes because of it. But yeah, this match was great. I loved the ankle locks. It was near the end of the middle. I can't quite remember when it was in the match, but like the ankle locks where like just, oh, she's out, no, back in the ankle lock. That's great shit.
Between Konami and Julia.
Yeah,
it was in the middle. I noted that as well. I thought their little tease for their Sendai Cinderella match, it did everything I could have asked for, because I really cannot wait for that match now.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Just because, well, to be fair, they had a match in Korakuen, which actually we disagreed about, didn't we, for Korakuen one?
In the tournament for the white belt?
Yeah.
Did we? I can't remember. What did you say?
I thought it was an 8. I think you gave it a 7. It's a weird reversal where I was more positive.
Maybe I was just angry when I watched it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the fact that they were cutting off Micah constantly, and that it was tag team psychology 101, and we've spoken about this on podcasts before. You know, just cut off the least experienced person. And Micah, because I know that you've had a real issue with this, she's been trying to act like the powerhouse. She's effectively exuberant with youthful energy, and she eventually tires herself out. And this is where B was fantastic, because Micah and B did the majority of the heavy lifting in this match. And you've got Micah trying to outpower B, but because B is more experienced, she's able to slither her way out and wait for Micah to make a mistake, which led to one of the coolest reversals and smoothest reversals out of an Enka Itoshi into a DDT, which looked nice. It looks so fucking good. And then, again, the entire finishing sequence played on the fact that Micah had made a mistake due to her inexperience, and B was able to capitalize. I'm slightly surprised that B broke out the Queen's Landing for Micah, but, you know, it does put her over, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, because we've been praising Stardom use of secondary finishes a lot, which means, like, when Momo brings up a Peace Sunrise, when B Priestley brings out the Queen's Landing, it does get them over quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that, like, there's nothing but to help Micah, especially since they clearly want to give her a sustained mini push until she's ready for main events.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah,
so,
they're booking her really well.
So since she's like the obvious fall person here, because you don't want B to have a claim to the white belt right now, that's probably the best way you could have booked this match. So
yeah, 100% completely agree with you. I gave this an 8. I thought this was a really, really good match.
It was approaching an 8 for me. I'm not quite sure what stopped it. Do you ever have a thing where like a match ends is like, oh, that was so close to being an 8, but I can't quite tangibly tell you what stopped it?
Was it because you were getting annoyed with B. Priestley?
I mean, yeah, but like I get really annoyed with Johnny Gargano, and doesn't actually it really does.
It really does affect it. Yes, it does. Fuck are you talking about? Yes, it does.
I hate him. I hate him so for like actual criminals that I hate less than Johnny Gargano. Yeah, it might have been the B thing because like there were points in this match where she was like, it's like you with Shiri and Cinderella. She was like just being expressive to the point of being a bit annoying.
Yeah, I think there was another night as well where I mentioned that she must have been really, really close to one of the microphones because all I could hear was B. Priestley's voice, and it hasn't bothered me as much on these two nights. I think it's bothered you, but I can see why that would irritate. But again, it's not go away heat. It's like it's heel heat, and I think she's doing it well, especially if she loses a Sendai Cinderella. Which, you know, some of you listening to this might already know the results, and you're going,
you're
yay, or
right now.
boo. Anyway, let's move on then. Let's move on to the finals. Night 9 of Stardom Goddesses of Stardom Tag League from the 8th of November from Edion Arena, Osaka 2 in front of 412 fans. We start with Tag League action with Wingori defeating Colour Me Pop at 5 minutes and 45 seconds with the Iidabashi. Wingori get their first 2 points, and do you know what, Chris? They fucking deserved them.
Sairida got a pin. That never happens.
They have fucking deserved this. They have been, like, low-key one of the most entertaining things about this entire tag league, Chris.
They gelled really well, and, like, it's not even, like, through, like, immense work rate, but just, like, they're two personalities that complement each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that really helps. And then also, because it's against Steph and Riho, who, you know, have beaten Mayu and Julia, it now means that Hanan is the best wrestler in Stardom.
I've actually said this isn't as impressive as other Wingori matches, but when you're working a match with Gokuk and Death, who, you know, they've got a very specific match style, it's not going to be as, you know, you had the do-si-do spots, you had the spot of them holding their competitors' arms and then fanning out, which why didn't Sairida just let go of Hanan's arm? I mean, that why are they keeping themselves up so they can be stretched? That bit really annoys me, and I don't know why. I think I've focused maybe a little bit too much on that. They should just let each other go.
It's because we've had to watch, like, what, 5 do-si-dos at this point. We can't help but overanalyze the fucking do-si-do. Like, I had expected them to, you know, like, when they made you do it in school, but they made you do, like, the pirate one?
Yes.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't do that at some point. Like, they started doing the gay garden. I don't know if you did that in school. Did you? No, you probably didn't do Scottish Highland dancing in school.
Do you know what? No, in England, we don't tend to focus on Scottish Highland dancing.
No, so you've never done the gay gardens?
I am going to make sure that the next time we see each other and we get fucking hammered, I'm going to make you do Scottish Highland dancing. You're going to teach me, and we're going to put a video on our Twitter of us two Highland dancing, and the Twitter community is going to go mental.
Who's going to lead?
Well, obviously you. I'm such a submissive person. It's obviously going to be you.
I'm sorry, neither of us are especially dominating person. That's why we have Gaff.
We are such beta males.
It's like literally with Gaff, it is the fucking stereotype of a small guy slapping at the big guy.
Oh. Anyway, Hanan impressed again in the very, very brief exchange she had with Riho, but otherwise, this was a fairly standard match. It ruined Colour Me Pop's chances of reaching the final, so, you know, there's that positive. But I gave it 5. It wasn't a bad match. Nothing got botched, but ultimately, you know, you're not looking at, as I've said before, a 5-star classic out of Gokuk and Death, Chris.
Yeah. What I quickly want to say is that Riho's actually been getting silently better.
The problem with Riho in Stardom for me is that she would have one match and then not be on the card, and then she'd be in a random six-woman tag and then not be on a card, and then she'd be with one faction, then she'd be with another faction. There's been no consistency with her about who she's been with, and it's been like a bit of a running joke about each faction trying to get Riho to be a part of their faction, but I don't know.
She's basically Stardom's intern.
Yeah, exactly, but then you can't have the tag team chemistry if you're not with that person, week in, week out. But obviously she's been with Go Kick and Death, and I think they have got very, very good chemistry anyway. But yeah, she has, I agree with you, because she hasn't been in the ring as much, because it's been very focused around Go Kick and Death, the rebirth of Death Yamasan. I think Rio's taken a bit of a back seat, and the focus hasn't been on her, and I agree, she has been getting better.
Yeah, thing is with Rio, I think another thing. Well, she's a freelance because she's been going all over the place. She had a DDT 6-man shot a wee while ago, but I think also the problem with her is that she doesn't really work Stardom's style. Like, she doesn't hit very hard, like, at all.
She has the same offensive problem that I used to have with Starlight Kid.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, Starlight, to her credit, has worked on fixing, but I think Starlight's more worked on fixing that because she needs to, like, fit in with Stardom. I'm pretty sure if Rio was in a different Joshi promotion, maybe that wouldn't be as big an issue. Like, from what I understand, like, Tokyo Joshi isn't as strike heavy. I haven't watched much Tokyo Joshi, so I couldn't tell you for sure.
No, I have no idea about Tokyo Joshi Pro, apart from the fact that everyone seems to be jumping ship to Stardom. That's all I know.
Yeah. I know Yuki Sakazaki, and apparently the show from last week was really good, so I might watch that. That's the thing, I kept almost clicking on it, but I saw it was like 4.5 hours long, and I'm like, that's an afternoon. I could do something. I could watch 2 movies.
More Tag League action then. Match 2, which saw Devil Duo defeat Black Widows at 8 minutes and 5 seconds with the Kishi Keisai, which I can never say. It's safe to say, Chris, I was not looking forward to this match. Not only because it was all Oedo Tai, but also I've watched enough G1s and all Bullet Club matches to expect a shite match.
Yeah, like, I don't think there's ever actually been, like, the only good Bullet Club v Bullet Club match I can think of is the Bucks versus the Golden Lovers, and maybe one of the Kenny versus Cody matches. And, like, that's the problem. Like, heel dynamics, you really have to sort of skirt a line on that one, which I didn't trust current Oedo Tai to do.
I didn't.
But this was fine. This, like, isn't going to blow you away or anything, but, like, there wasn't a lot of bollocks. Like, just a tiny bit of bollock. It just showed a hint of bollock, but, like, not full bollocks.
It's a sprinkling of bollocks. It sucks.
Yeah, just a bit shaved off.
But yeah, this was decent. I mean, what I said before about Konami sort of in my head played into this a little bit, about both sides of Oedo Tai wanting to prove themselves against each other. You know, there was a sort of noting of respect at the start. You know, we like each other, don't get me wrong, but we're going to try and kill each other. You know, it's always nice to have that dominance in a faction, and it was the same with DDM later on the night. Yes, we had interference and a bit of bullshit, but that actually led to an actual finish, meaning it came across as sneaky and not just completely nonsensical. I like the fact that there's a little bit of poetic justice, that one half of Oedo Tai stops the other, making it to the final. And I'm just going to plug Saki again. I thought Saki was brilliant here because she did the majority of the heavy lifting. And B. Priestley, during a Regalplex, I don't know whose fault it was, but that was a horrifying looking bump that Saki took, and it looked like she proper shook her up as well. But yeah, it was a far better match than I thought it was going to. I thought Tora and Konami did some really, really, really good work. Konami's striking was really, really on point in this match. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, far, far, far better. I expected, you know, people lying down and then kicking out. You know, basically the typical Suzuki-gun or Bullet Club G1 all faction match, where we just get, and then we have 2 minutes of bullshit and then it's finished. And it's just, I've not got time for that. But this was decent. It was far better than I thought it was going to be, Chris.
Yeah, like I saw this and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna waste like 15 minutes of my life I can never get back. I could have done so many things with those 15 minutes. I could have reached out to someone I lost ages ago and told them anyway. But no, I ended up not missing. I ended up going, yeah, that's probably a bad idea. And also, this match was okay. It like nothing that's gonna blow your mind. But like, turns out when Tora and Saki have to work a match, because you can't hang someone from your stable. So turns out when we actually have to work a match, it's good and it's fun and I enjoyed it. Not much especially stood out to me apart from it's the one time where the chain wasn't annoying and I actually quite enjoyed, like Fuomo complaining about B on this podcast. I did quite enjoy her post-match promo.
Yeah, where she explains to everyone in the crowd that no one in Oedo Tai sucks because they're all strong, but Momo Watanabe does suck massively.
It's just sort of like, just to make it clear, we don't suck. You know about Momo, though? Fuck Momo.
Poor Momo. I feel so sorry for Momo.
It literally, like, I forget who it was, but there was someone I had like an active disdain for in like the early days of Young Lion, where I would like, yeah, these guys aren't bad, but you know who is? I completely forget who. It's basically what I have right now with Gargano. So, it's like, this match wasn't bad, but you know what? Whose matches are bad? Johnny Gargano.
What would you give this one then, Chris?
6.
I gave it high 6, low 7. I did enjoy it far more than I thought I was going to. Match 3 then, Tag League action with Aphrodite getting their second victory in a row, defeating Dream H at 14 minutes and 5 seconds with the German suplex. Nice little plot point about Meena being jealous of Utami as they debuted at roughly the same time, but Utami won the Tokyo Sports Rookie of the Year that year. Whilst Utami has physically no idea who Meena Shirakawa was. I find that really, really, really entertaining, Chris. What did you think of this match?
Meena Shirakawa, like, most of the issues we had with her on the last podcast are very suddenly not there.
Yeah.
Like, it's abrupt. Like, I don't know how that's happened. Because, how much time did we spend over the last 2 podcasts going, oh, this is what Meena Shirakawa needs to, like, address? Does she listen to this podcast? Because with the exception of a backfist, which she might be keeping just to spite idiots with podcasts, with the exception of that, everything's just sort of tightened, like, so quickly. I don't understand how that's happened. Like, is this the fastest turnaround we've seen of a Stardom cast so far? Because, like, I'm thinking of people we didn't initially like. Julia, it took months. It took months and a really good 5-star. I'm trying to think. Saya, it took months. Tora, we're still in sort of that stage where she's somewhat coming around, but not quite. Just, it's abrupt. I've never had like such an abrupt turnaround on someone.
I think it is just the fact that they've managed to find, as this tag league's gone on, they've managed to find a sort of dynamic for her. I mean, they sort of flip-flop between having Meena as the hot tag and having Meena as the babyface in peril, and she suits so much being the babyface in peril that it makes no sense to have her being the hot tag, especially when you've got someone like Tam, who is a really, really good hot tag. But aside from that, everything she does has tightened up. The DDT has some extra stank on it. I mean, they did the double team DDT, which I know you don't like, but even that seemed a little bit more stank on it.
Because my biggest issue with it before was mostly it took too long and it didn't look good, but because they've been now doing it fast, it's sort of taking out my main issue.
I think as well, it does help when you're in ring with someone who is as good as Utami, because that closing stretch between Utami and Meena was absolutely brilliant. And it built Meena really, really well, because Utami had to throw fucking everything at her. She hit her with an air raid crash she kicked out. She hit her with a ludicrous amount of kicks and chops and all sorts, until literally Meena was dead on her feet. when she got hit with that suplex. And you can actually, it was a brilliant piece of sound editing. You can actually hear Tam shouting, Meena, kick out, Meena. And you can just see, like, Meena's glassy-eyed. She's gone. And it was really, really good. The bit I wanted to talk to you about, though, Chris, was the knee bar that Tam locked in on Saya. And all I'm going to say is, thank fuck that Saya used to be a dancer, because there's absolutely no way I would be able to get my legs that far apart. My legs would drop off. My legs would literally go, nope, had enough of this. She's got her in this knee bar, and then with her other foot, she's pushing the other leg, literally to the point where Saya is doing splits. And it was
some Zack Sabre Jr. shit.
It was. It looked grotesque. I mean, it looked amazing. It worked really, really well. But Jesus, it looked horrendous to take.
It wasn't. Yeah. Like, I was just looking up. Like, if my knees even thought I was a possibility, they'd just, like, walk away. I'd just be sitting there on the stumps going, please don't hurt my stumps.
Saya took a lot of heat in this. I thought her selling was infinitely better. She wasn't flipping and doing shit like that, despite having her back worked for an entire match. That was where I thought Meena really showed a lot of promise. She was using a few different submissions, which, if she worked a submission-based style, I think she'd be very, very good. She actually managed to get in the surfboard lock, which was brilliant. She's managed to do that the last couple of times. But I think there, as opposed to trying to engage someone in strikes, because, you look at Meena and Utami, she's not going to outstrike Utami. She's not going to outstrike a significant portion of the Stardom roster. But submissions, she looked very, very solid. And if she can develop that part of a game, she could be a legitimate threat.
Because that's the thing, because Utami's taken to, like, having, like, proper, like, little, like the start of a 2K19 match, so, like, the little technical exchanges. And, like, Meena didn't look completely out of place in that.
No, absolutely not. The first couple of matches, we both noted how there was 3 good people in the ring, and then Meena, which is harsh, but, when you have got a roster where 90% of them can go in the way they can go, you've got to step up, and I didn't feel like Meena was doing. She was still finding her feet, but like you said, the turnaround's been ludicrous. Yeah,
she's turned around really, like, again, like, when we see, like, a new, well, we haven't seen that, like, really since the podcast started because low corona, but like, when a new foreigner comes in, you don't base them on how they are when we get there, you base them on how they are when we leave. And, like, that's how I'm trying to see, like, Meena. She's a new import, and she's adapting, and she's adapting fast. Like, I don't know, because she picked up wrestling 2 years ago when she was 30, didn't she? So, like, I don't know, I can barely learn new skills now, and I'm 23. So,
yeah, full props to her. I really enjoyed this match, and I'll be honest, this show, aside from the opener, and, we differ on the Oedo Tai match, the last 4 matches of this show are all great, because I gave this an 8. I thought this was really, really good.
Yeah, this is a high 7, low 8 for me. This was really good stuff.
We follow this with, and I'm just going to blurt it out now, my match of the tournament. Match 4, Tag League action. Momo AZ defeating MK Sisters at 11:30 with the Peach Sunrise. This was stellar, Chris.
Question, because I think I asked this at the start of Tag League, but I've forgotten. What does the MK and MK Sisters stand for?
It'll be Mayu and Kid, won't it?
Okay, I'm really disappointed now. I thought it stood for Mario Kart.
The Mario Kart Sisters.
Well, it was either Mario Kart or Mortal Kombat, and Mario Kart's a better game. So.
I mean, you would assume that it's Mayu and Kid. I mean, this is Mayu Iwatani we're talking about. It could stand for just 2 completely random words. It could mud kippers.
You were really struggling.
Honestly, that was really bad. Like, my brain just went, think of a word beginning with K. And I was like, come on, brain. And my brain just went, no.
Maybe it's Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton Sisters.
which just really, really like Batman.
I imagine it stands for Mayu and Kid. This was fucking great, Chris.
This is really, really good. Like, it started off a tad slow, which normally would, spell death in a 10-minute match. But then it really, really, really picked up by the end, like bombs being thrown, and the bombs being thrown with nukes. Like some really creative spots, like the code red into a B drive.
That might have been the best move reversal I have seen all year.
It was so smooth as well.
That was the thing. Aside from, it just built and built and built and built, and it was just this furious 11-minute sprint. And like you said, it started a bit slow. Like, you've got Mayu who's forgotten a mask, because, lol Mayu. You've got Azumi tripping over her own feet at the start. But it just, like I say, it just built to such a crescendo. All four of these women had tremendous chemistry in ring, but it was just, everything they did was 100 mile an hour and nobody missed a step. It was great. And like Chris said, that spot where, again, every time Starlight goes for the Keychain bomb, you're like, well, someone's going to kick her off. And I was like, hey up, Azumi's on the other side of the ring. Oh my God, she's not going to hit it. And then just halfway through, just sitting into that B-drop. Oh, it was chef's kiss.
No, normally when you see someone like that, there's like a half-second setup, so you end up seeing it coming, and it's still like really cool, but like you saw it coming. But this, like, there was no set. It just, I don't know how like you pitch that. It's like, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to very rapidly sit on your neck.
Just incredible. And then you've got Starlight Kid working Azumi's leg, bringing in completely new submission moves that I've never seen her do before. This brilliant spot where Starlight Kid is in a sleeper hold, and she's reaching out for the rope, and Momo, in one smooth motion, kicks the outstretched arm into the Peach Sunrise position and hits her with the Peach Sunrise. It was seamless, beautiful. And this entire match, the only thing that I can find wrong with it is that I wish it had gone longer.
Yeah, it's weird, because like, when I think of like people being able to perfectly pace 10-minute sprints, the person I immediately go to is Tam. Because I think she's had 3 of the best Stardom matches of the year. 2 in the 5-star against Julia and Mayu, and then 1 against Kagetsu. And they were all like around the 10-minute mark. But then like this is then just really, really good. Like, yeah, I do think it could have used an extra few minutes, especially since the first couple minutes was a bit slow, and that's not an insubstantial portion of your match. Like, that's 1/5 according to Quiz Math. So it took a while. So I was like, shit, what's 2 take away 10?
Come on, brain.
Quick, say something. He might think you don't know maths. Quiz Math, switch. This was, when this picked up, it picked up really well, and like, in the sense of it starting slow and then getting really fast, it kind of reminded me of, it was Segura versus Nakajima in the N1 in that respect, but like, this is better. Just really, this is definitely match of tag league for me, and like, that's including the next 2 matches, which were both also pretty good.
Yeah, I gave that 9.
Yeah, it's a high approaching a 9. I think if it had like that tiny bit more time, because the ending was a tad abrupt. But then again, it was one big finishing sequence, so it could have happened at any time. But yeah, it's just it's on the precipice of a 9 for me, but not quite. You achieve. We will give you an 8, but you do not achieve a rank of 9.
They do. Anyway, match 5. So the tag league comes to an end with this semi-main event. So currently, as it stands, this is what needs to happen. So Julia and Micah will go to the finals as Red Goddess winner with win or a draw. So basically, if Crazy Bloom avoid defeat, they go through as Red Block winner. If they lose, then Aphrodite go into the finals, which I found bizarre considering they didn't pick up a win until their 4th match. But there we are. That's Red Block for you. On the other side of it, if Suri and Himika win, they will be tied with Momo AZ on 8 points, and they would have to have a tiebreaker match to determine the Blue Goddess block winner. If they
I'm not
lose
gonna lie,
or go to a draw, Momo Izzy win the blue block and advance to the finals.
I'm so happy you're here to explain this because I was trying to figure it out in my head, but I was figuring it out as if they were in the same block. I'm like, wait, no, because that's not the case. Because apparently Stardom, I don't know how they came up with that concept. It's like you look at a really nice cake and think, you know what, I'm going to make that cake, but replace the icing with a knife.
The issue that I have with it, Chris, is that because of the way they've done it, so one team in blue block has to face all the teams in red block. The way they've done it, we've already seen the Tag League final, and we've already seen whatever obviously the winner will go on and face the tag champs, which is Aphrodite. We've already seen that match because whoever wins blue block will have already seen it. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand this concept at all.
I think it's one of those cases of being different for the sake of being different. I can't think of any other logical reason for them to do it like that.
It makes no sense.
Like, imagine if they did that in what's another sport that people watch? A football tournament.
You're gonna make a football related parallel.
I sat next to my granddad while he watched the World Cup. Imagine if they put everyone in blocks for the point stage of a World Cup, and then we're like, well, you're not actually going to face the people in your block. You're going to face everyone else.
It's like the NFL. Basically, what they do is they put you into conferences and then divisions in that conference, and then you play all the people in your division and all the people in your conference, but then you will also play some of the people from the other conference, and then it's on a rotation system of every 3 years you play some other people. It's bizarre. Why?
You lost me at NFL.
Anyway, moving on to something that we do know, this match was brilliant. Julia and Micah defeating Grab the Top at 14 minutes and 5 seconds with the lateral press. This was another fantastic match. I thought the next two matches centered a lot around Micah, and in two very different stories. In this match with Grab the Top, she was determined not to be the one to lose her team the match after being the one that took the pin against Black Widows. She was determined to prove herself, and she went toe-to-toe with Himika especially, who is quite obviously a more dominant competitor. She's bigger, she's stronger than Micah, but Micah didn't back down, and that really endeared her to me in some regard. I thought the entire middle section between Julia and Suri was fantastic, and then just Himika absolutely beating the ever-loving piss out of Micah until the last until literally the last moment. I thought was absolutely great, Chris.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that really stood out in this match. First of all, the technical exchange at the beginning I really liked, because it wasn't like a wrestling technical exchange. Like, they were actually shooting a bit like an actual fight, which I did quite enjoy. And then there was a near fall near the end, where someone was where one team got rolled up, and so Micah was going to try and jump in to save it, but then they got rolled up, and suddenly Shuri had to jump around and save it. I just like the Benny Hill shenanigans going on in the background. But yeah, DDM infighting is always fun because they're all such strong, they're all strong personalities. Even Micah, who's a bit who's probably the flattest of the five of them, still has a lot of personality to it, just is a bit quieter. I am a bit sad Natsupoi was nowhere near these two shows, because I actually found some new British Showman jokes, but next week I guess. But yeah, which is just really fun, because all the personalities sort of coming together to explode is what normally carries these DDM civil wars, which we've had a fair few of now that I think about it, considering it's only been around for a year.
Even though Micah was the rookie of the group, or it still is the rookie of the group, she was the MVP here. She bumped circles around Himika. She made Himika look fantastic. She made her look really, really good. There was an exchange between Himika and Julia, which was flawless. It was so well done and so seamless that if they'd have interjected that into their singles match at Korakuen, we would have had, even more praise for that match because it would have fit in with that. It's just a shame it was sort of not in a throwaway tag, but in a tag where it's not going to get talked about. I mean, Maika, we talked about Maika's power game, and here she managed to superplex Himeka off the top rope, which is never easy. I mean, Himeka is noticeably taller than Maika, and she still managed it. And Maika has been beaten the piss out of by the end of this match.
That's what I liked about the Superplex was the narrative and the escalation of the match. Remember, Superplex actually had weight to it, as opposed to a lot of Superplexes where it's just okay, so this is where people are going to rest for a little bit.
What did you think of the finish?
I was very confused. I thought for a second we'd hit a time limit draw because
Our old friends.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's been we need. By the way, we need to pull off another paper on the clock. It's been 2 podcasts since we had our last time limit draw. But I was honestly, that's what I thought it was, because there didn't seem to be a clear winner, and everyone just sort of seemed to. It seems a bit botchy to me. It seems a bit WCW 1997.
From what I can see, basically, Maika had Himeka in the sleeper hold, which she would then try and apply on Momo in the next match. And she did it out of desperation, and then from what Murayama was saying, she'd hooked the arm of Himeka so that she couldn't kick out, which is why her legs were going. And that was why the pinfall. But the camera angle was completely wrong. So you missed, because obviously you've got the back of Maika, so you can't see what she's got hold of. And from all the gesticulations from everyone, it looks like she hooked the arm of Himeka so she couldn't power out of the pinfall. And I think that was what they were going for. It was sort of a desperation thing, but I don't think the camera angle helped. And not having commentary, of course, doesn't help situations like that. It didn't take away too much for me from the match. It was just a little bit confusing.
The rest of the match was really good, but this finish just sort of, it didn't ruin it, but it dragged it down a fair bit for me, because it literally took me about a minute of looking at everyone to figure out who won. I was just sort of okay, who looks happy? Okay, they must have won.
I did give it 8, and I know that you won't have done.
I want that finish sort of dragged it down from an 8 for me. I gave it a 7.
Okay.
I'm feeling on that one.
So that does mean that this was how the blocks of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League finished up. So blue block, you had Momo AZ on 8 points, having won the last 4 matches. Black Widows, that lost to Devil Duo, unfortunately knocked them out of the running. They were on 7. Grab the Top on 6, and then Dream H and Colour Me Pop on 4 points. Red block was significantly closer, with Crazy Bloom edging out Aphrodite. Crazy Bloom on 6, Aphrodite on 5. Then followed Devil Duo and MK Sisters on 4, and then Wingori bringing up the rear on 2 points, which means that the 10th Goddess of Stardom Tag League final would be contested between Momo AZ and Crazy Bloom, with Momo AZ defeating Crazy Bloom at 12 minutes and 10 seconds with the Peach Sunrise. What did you think of the final then, Chris?
It was good. Everyone was sort of noticeably fatigued, but that makes sense. Especially in Julie and Micah's case. Again, this is another show of Micah being really good at ragdolling, because I was actually fairly concerned about Micah at points. It wasn't as clean as the other 2 matches. There was a fairly noticeable superplex botch where I think it was meant to be a smooth transition, but then they got dropped. And they didn't panic, so it didn't ruin the pace or anything, but it was a fairly noticeable botch. But the 2 teams gel well together. They all hit each other hard. Momo and Julia are almost perfect rivals because they're both such fucking hotheads. It's fucking when Tony Stark and Star-Lord come across each other. It's like, of course, they're not going to get along. But yeah, this match was grand. At this stage, I had binged these shows fairly close together, so I was a bit burned out. But like, this match managed to stand out. It's really good, despite the feeling of burnout coming in. So, like, I think that speaks to the quality of the match quite a lot.
I liked the storyline. Like in the previous match, we'd got Maika, who was trying to sort of not necessarily keep up with Himeka, but sort of trying to prove that she was as powerful as Himeka. And then in this match, she is noticeably not in a good way. I mean, she has taken an absolute fucking pasting at the hands of Himeka. Her neck and shoulders are already heavily taped, and Momo and Azumi are just like sharks around blood in water. They isolate her completely and just completely destroy her. Completely destroy her. They take her apart, and because she is so tired and injured, she sells it so brilliantly. She goes for the Enkara Toshi but can't do it. She goes for the Superplex but can't hit it. But she's still got that resolve. It still takes a golden trigger and a peach sunrise for Momo to finally put her away. And that resilience, because Julia's barely in this match. She's in it for, what, the match goes 12:30. I reckon she's probably in it for maybe 2 minutes of this match. It's all Maika.
Yeah, she wasn't overly present, was she? She was like Nelson Muntz' father.
Well, that's because... Nice. It was very good.
I do like how, like, you never laugh at my Simpsons references, but you're always like, yes, I appreciate.
Because Momo Izzy got a very clear game plan, which was Momo is going to take apart Maika, and Azumi just make sure Julia stops coming in. And that worked really, really well. Azumi, the brief time that she was with Julia, was great as well. But yeah, I agree with you that Julia and Momo, they are going to have an absolutely phenomenal feud at some point, and I can't wait.
They've been teasing it all year because there was a DDM versus Queen's Quest match from earlier in the year, and like Momo and Julia just wouldn't stop like attacking each other. Like, and then they had their match in the Cinderella. Like, to be fair, I was going to say we've followed sort of Julia and Hannah's chemistry in that respect, but that's basically the chemistry Julia has with everyone. Where it's like, I'm really unhappy that you other people exist.
You mentioned about the offense getting noticeably sloppier, and, you know, obviously, especially Donna Del Mondo had just fought back-to-back and literally didn't have a break. The next match cut in, they were still in ring when Queen's Quest came out.
It reminds me of, I just finished like the 97 Champion Carnival finals, and it was like that where Misawa and Kobashi went to a 30-minute draw, and then Kawada just comes out and destroys Misawa.
And you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, just leave me alone.
Like, I've already won. Why am I still getting kicked?
But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a really, really good match. I thought the fact that they had to do so much to put Maika away put Maika over really, really big. I thought throughout these last two matches, she's worked a lot on her personality, that resilience. And it was something that, you know, we've both said she needed to improve a little bit. She needed to improve that character. And she did do in these last two matches. She was devastated when she realised she'd had to take the pin again. Momo Z came over as real badasses here, just completely took apart the rookie, and they are your 10th Goddesses of Stardom Tag League winners. I gave it 8 stars, Chris.
Yeah, I'm approaching an 8 as well. I'm making a point to go rewatch it when I haven't watched a few hours of wrestling back to back.
Yeah.
Because it seems like one of those matches that like were really good. Like, you know how like AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan at the Rumble a couple of years ago was really good, but it followed a Rumble. It's kind of like that for me. But yeah, like it's probably an 8.
Yeah, fair enough. So, post-match, a couple of interesting things, Chris. The first, obviously, there is a trophy, and they have got some very, very fancy rings that the winners are given. The one thing I wanted to ask, though, it's not Rossi Ogawa that presents it. It's actually President Harada of Bushi Fight. Do you think there's any relevance to that? I mean, we haven't seen much, if any, Bushi Road presence, or Bushi Fight, presence at all. You know, so why here?
We haven't seen it since we haven't seen it since year-end climax last year. like, and that's when we just purchased it. I don't know. I think maybe just was Rossi there? I don't think Rossi was there, so maybe that was it.
It could be something simple as that. Very, very.
Maybe, what do we have? It's more like active Bushiroad crossover now with New Japan and Stardom. So like maybe it's just that. Maybe you're just gonna have Rossi there for the title matches for tradition's sake, and then we're just gonna start bringing in other people to do tournaments. But like literally, I think it might just be a case of Rossi, because he's fairly getting on a bit in age, isn't he? So like maybe we didn't want to risk taking him out of Tokyo to Osaka.
He is 183, so it would make sense.
Yeah, he's roughly gas age.
So you think it's a culmination of things. So do you think that we are seeing the phasing out of Rossi?
No, because he was still presenting the titles at the title matches. I think it's mostly they want to have Bushi. It's either they just want some more Bushiroad presence because they own the gaff, or they didn't want to risk taking Rossi out of Tokyo and sending him to Osaka, given the current, situation. I'm trying to remember what was the last title match we had outside of. It would have been the jungle match. Yeah, did Rossi present that?
Yes.
I don't remember. Oh, he did. Okay, I don't know. It's one of those things where time will tell. But I think, as it stands, I just assume the most natural reason is because they don't want to risk taking the old man to Osaka.
Fair enough. It seems strange to do this here, but then not have them present Utami with the 5-star trophy.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that was in Korakuen, so there's like a more. It sort of just continues my theory. We're not going to know until the next tournament, really.
No. Or
at least. So it's possible, but like I think right now shouting, "Oh, it's a Q against Rossi" might be a bit premature.
Okay. I was just intrigued. It seemed odd that it would be, of all things, the Goddess of Stardom tag league that we see their presence in.
Maybe Rossi was like, tag league, fuck off, someone else can do
it. Like everyone does with New Japan, just no, fuck that.
Yeah, but not all Japan, because apparently we're bringing in Masato Tanaka for fucking tag league.
God, fuck's sake.
To be fair, I don't know anything, because Masato Tanaka is one of my wrestlers of the year this year.
You've said that. I know you've said this. You've said this quite a few times.
Because it does, he fulfills my very specific niche of I like seeing old people beat the shit out of people.
So, question, Chris. If I had to say who is your MVP of this tournament, who is it? And you can give a team or an individual.
As well, I have two separate answers for this. As an actual team that I enjoyed watching, it would be Mayu and Starlight, because they're just established to be really, really good, and Mayu's on the run of their career right now, despite current circumstances. And then as breakouts, I think Shirakawa and Tam and Micah, as mentioned, and Aphrodite, and as well as Saya and Hanan, they've all been massive breakouts. Like you've noticed improvement across the board with them. So for an actual MVP though, it would be Mayu and Starlight for me.
I think it's difficult to disagree with you. I'd say them maybe grab the top.
Yeah.
I thought they were really good. I've enjoyed all their matches. Azumi and Momo have put on some absolutely tremendous matches. I thought it was nice that Momo finally managed to get some sort of revenge for, having lost to Crazy Bloom and then taking that really shock loss to Micah in the 5-star. She finally managed to get a little bit of recompense for that. But I think they've done really well. I think Wingori have been tremendous. Yes, they fought the same sort of match every single time or opened every match in the same sort of way, but I thought they were tremendous as well. I do agree with you, though. I think Mayu and Starlight have put on entertaining matches whenever they've been asked to, whenever they've been given the tap. So it's difficult not to give it to them. Moving on then from Tag League, it was announced, obviously, afterwards. Aphrodite came out, Momo and Azumi said that we're going to challenge you. There was a big handshake, and that was set for Korakuen new landscape, which took place on the 14th of November. Myself and Chris have avoided all the spoilers. I don't know if Chris has. I have. So we're not going to talk about that.
I saw who came out for against Sairida, but apart from that,
Brilliant.
Don't know
In that case, Chris, quick prediction. Who do you see winning that match?
Between
Aphrodite and Momo Izzy.
Honestly, I think Aphrodite, the tag belts are a bit below Azumi and Momo.
Wow.
And also, but also, the way I look at it, there's been a draw and a Momo AZ win. So if we're doing a trilogy here, it's narratively, I think it's best if Saya and Utami finish in that way. Queen's Quest are also an equal pegging.
I said earlier that the way the championship has changed Saya and the confidence it's given to her, it would be such a shame for her to lose it. I'd like to see her stay with it. So yeah, stay with Saya. Stay with Saya and Utami. So obviously we had new landscape, but the big show which took place again today, the 15th of November, is the Stardom Sendai Cinderella, which is a really big show. It's going to be headlined by Mayu versus Utami for the World of Stardom title. Chris, presuming that you have avoided all spoilers on this, I just want to get your opinions on who you think is going to win. I'm just going to go through the title matches. So Future of Stardom title match is Micah the champion versus Saya Iida. Who do you see winning that one?
Micah, the Future of Stardom championship isn't really something we're defending off, and it's basically just a trophy they give to someone going, we want you to look good until we can actually push you. That's basically how it's used for Utami. So I think Micah's more about figuring Iida. I think this is more just a token defense to make it look like an actual championship.
Fair enough. I agree with you. The only thing is now, once Saya Iida's challenged, you've had Saya. Who do you have now to challenge? That's the only issue.
I just you had Saya.
You had Saya and other Saya.
The children, but again, they're going to be token defense until Micah just relinquishes it. I think they're mostly going to be token defenses. Yeah. Unless they bring in another mega rookie.
Well, they are bringing in, of course, Lady C, who is going to face Saya Iida at New Landscape. So she's a rookie, so she could potentially challenge. I don't know whether Meena Shirakawa actually classes still as a rookie, so she could challenge. I think we talked about this last time. And then, obviously, we don't know who Double Z is, who will debut at, I believe, the New Landscape show as well, so they might be a rookie as well. I don't know, because I haven't seen who it is yet. High speed title match. This is easy. Azumi versus Goku Death. I mean, it's obviously going to be Goku Death. She's been kept really strong, and she's going to win it all. She's going to be like Bobby Lashley in Impact. She's going to take all the belts. To
be fair though, she is a former high speed champion.
You don't see her beating Azumi, surely.
I mean, she beat Hazuki, and Hazuki held it for ages. Hang on. Just to check. Yeah, she beat Hazuki after Hazuki held it for 200 days.
So are you going with Goku Death?
I'm not going with Goku.
Good, because you'd have been wrong.
I would have been really wrong going for Goku Death, but now watch it be Goku Death.
No, I think we're both going for Azumi there. The SWA Undisputed World Women's title match with Bea Priestley the champion taking on Syuri. This is a difficult one for me because obviously you want to keep Bea strong, and the way that this title is sort of broken up, if you have Bea drop this title to Syuri, who is from Japan and therefore cannot defend it against anyone from Japan, you are really struggling for competitors who can actually take Syuri on if she wins this title.
There's no one.
There's literally no one.
Hate is still in Britain, so and as is Sasha Moss, she's in Ireland, so who is there? Literally, who is there?
I mean,
are you gonna? You could do a loophole because Julia's part Italian, but that's about it.
No offense, but the title is below Julia.
Yeah, this title is below Julia.
Am I right in thinking that you can go for the belt if you've had under 2 years' experience?
That's future. SWA
it's
is
just the nationality.
Yeah. So my thinking is just keep it on B, because otherwise it's a non-factor.
But you've just had Syuri sign this contract.
Yeah, but like also it's Oedo Tai.
You think Oedo Tai bollocks?
I mean, like, it's an Oedo Tai match. I'm always going to assume Oedo Tai bollocks.
If it wasn't for this rule, it's Syuri. Syuri is going to beat the piss out of B. But, I mean, a nagging part of me just thinks that Syuri's going to win this. Just because of how strong they have booked Syuri recently.
I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised for the win, but at that point, the SWA is just going to be token. And I get it was mostly token with Utami, but like a good third belt would be good, especially for these smaller shows. So I think as much as we discussed earlier, I want to see Syuri beat the shit out of Priestley, I think it would be a bit of a booking misstep for this specific title.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, booking logic would say B, so let's just go with B. Wonder of Stardom title match, Julia versus Konami. Who have you got?
Julia. I don't see her dropping it. Yeah, I see her having a fairly lengthy reign with it. I think Konami is mostly just clean up after the fight there.
My question to you in that case is, you've just done all this with Konami. You've just done all this work at sort of turning her, putting all this stuff into her, to then have her lose in her first big test. Is that not going to damage her, do you not think?
Yeah, it probably would, but here's how I'd solve it. A best of 7 series of Gokanda, and the winner of each match picks the stipulation. So we're going to have like Firefly Funhouse in there, barbed wire exploding death matches. It will get everyone on the good level. I can feel your contempt.
There is so much contempt.
It's like, why of all the people I could have picked to co-host, why the fuck did I pick this?
So many people.
I could have got Garth.
The thing is with this, I do think Julia is going to retain because, you know, they wanted to have a lengthy reign with it. The only thing is, if Mayu drops the belt to Utami needs high-level competitors to challenge her. And I think Julia, they want to get this red belt on Julia sooner rather than later, in my opinion. Julia is going to be red belt champion soon. I don't think, at the moment, there is one person to ever be white and red belts holder simultaneously, and that's Mayu. Are they going to do that with Julia? Do they, you know, they've got quite a lot of people on board with Julia now. Do you not think that people will be turned off by the fact that she's now double champion? Triple if she's still artist after New Landscape?
See, I think that's the thing with Julie. You need to manage how she pushed, because my problem with her at the start, and I think a lot of people's problem where they pushed her a lot very quickly. So I think if you're going to go this double belt route, like you think they are, I think you need to wait at least a year.
Or have Konami beat Julia here. It is Oedo Tai. I mean, I know they've said that Konami and B are the better technical wrestlers, therefore they don't need to rely on that. Have Konami beat Julia. Have Konami hold the white belt. Have Julia challenge the winner of this match. Or, you know, going forward, we've still got 2 big shows left of this year. You need big matches. And Julia, you know, whether people like it or not, you know, I've definitely come around to it. I know you have as well. So I'm completely for Julia having that belt.
Yeah, I'm not at all against it. I just think they're going to wait on that one. I think they're going to continue this her run as a sort of prove her, because like again, she has to make up for how people felt about her in the first half of this year. So I think it's going to hold on to that to at least like February, March time before she switches to red belt, maybe through next year's 5-star.
Yeah, fair enough. I will say as well,
but she still has plenty of time. She still has plenty of time.
Yeah, true.
Like she's this is such a young roster, so like everyone has plenty of time to get where they need to be going.
Fair enough. And I will say, Konami had. God, I was so convinced that Konami was going to win this belt, and now I'm not sure. Fuck it. No, I'll go Julia. I think Julia will keep it. Fuck it. So Julia to win that, whatever, it's going to be a stellar match. That we can both agree on that. I would be amazed if that doesn't make it onto a match of the year ballot for end of year awards. Speaking of end of year awards, I'm sure that this will also make it on Mayu versus Utami for the World of Stardom Championship. Chris, this was a hard one for me.
Yeah, but we've been debating this for 3 weeks now. And my thinking is, right at this moment in time, I support the idea of Utami being able to win the World of Stardom Championship, but I don't quite support her having a reign at this specific moment in time.
I don't think until it's put into practice, we don't know, do we? She might be, if she wins the belt, she could be the best champion we've ever seen, the most dominant, the most charismatic champion that we've ever. But we don't know that because the only singles championships she's held are the Future of Stardom Championship and the SWA.
Yeah, but the thing is, my problem isn't like Utami's capability to hold the belt. I have full confidence in that if she wins it, she'd have a good reign. And also, like, they're more experimental with the red belt. Like, we put it on, like, Tony Storm or Bea Priestley on Alpha Female back in the day. So, like, they're not against shocks of the World of Stardom Championship. That's part of the reason why I like Stardom. But at the same time, Mayu's had a monster reign. I feel like there should be more of a storyline climb for someone to beat her.
Do you...
But then again, at that point, you would have to spend another half a year setting that up because no one's currently set up to do that. And at the same time, Mayu's ran through everyone.
She's held it for a year. She's held it for 377 days.
And she's ran through a lot of
She's
people.
run through basically everyone.
Yeah, like, I'm looking, like, on this card, who hasn't she run through?
Julia.
Maybe Azumi. No, she didn't beat Julia. Yeah, Julia. But that's the thing. Again, you'd have to spend the next few months setting that up while she has a bunch of other filler defenses, and then you sort of have the Okada problem from his long reign, where basically every match after losing to Naito, you were just waiting for the Omega match.
Yeah, because, I mean, if Mayu retains against Utami, you've still got Julia she hasn't faced, you've still got Konami she hasn't faced. Those are two
Konami
still really, really big matches.
That's the thing, because that could... Konami, he said Konami, if Konami loses Julia, I'm not opposed to Konami taking it off Mayu. I'm not opposed to Utami taking it off Mayu, but yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to call just because Stardom can be so, I don't want to say erratic, but random with their booking sometimes. Like, again, like, Bea Priestley held it for most of last year.
True. Bear with me.
And she beat, like... Shigetsu, who was like the big final boss of Stardom. So like this is literally impossible to call. So I still think it would be Mayu.
Thinking about defenses down the line, then we've talked about Julia, we've talked about Konami. Don't forget that Tam has still got a sort of claim to Mayu's belt.
She does, but also I'm trying to. Yeah, actually, if we're talking about Big Stars conspiracy, I'm talking like the Big Stars conspiracy we were talking about,
or as
earlier.
I like to call it, Star Wars. Oh, that is so good.
You really went. I can just hear you grinning at your fucking joke. It's like when my dad tells a fucking joke. He was telling a joke about, because of the 2-week quarantine, Santa's pushed Christmas back to January 2nd. And he's been telling my nieces that, and they're just turning to me and going, Chris, can you make him stop? I'm like, I've been trying for 23 years. I'm not fucking like. But I can still feel your fucking grin. Jesus Christ. If it's like Star Wars, does that mean every third movie is going to be horribly disappointing?
Yeah, 100%.
And then, like, one of the actual best movies in the franchise is going to be woefully underrated because Star Wars fans are fucking babies. Anyway, Last Jedi's great. But, yeah, so but there's plenty of ways out of it, out of any booking decision made here. Utami would probably be a good champion. I don't think she'd be holding it for terribly long if she won it. I think it would be more a trial run. But then again, when was the last time we had a short red belt run? And the whole time it's happened, I don't think I've actually seen one.
I will tell you now. So,
well, if you click on it, you're going to see who wins.
Good job I didn't click on them.
Yeah, because it's just going to have the current champion at the top, isn't it?
Thank God for that.
So don't
I haven't clicked on it. It's fine. I haven't clicked on it.
We will look into have a World of Stardom title as books
next time.
When we know.
My thing for you is, and this is the final thing on this card, presuming you're going with Mayu, I'm going with Mayu too.
I'm going with Mayu. If we were doing actual predictions, I'd go with Utami just because I need something different because we've just agreed a bit with all of them at this point. But since we're not doing predictions, yeah, it's probably going to be Mayu.
Do you see? Now, the reason I'm asking this is because it's been announced today that Stardom's 10th anniversary All-Star Cinderella is going to take place March 3rd at Budokan Hall. That's
so, yeah.
Fucking massive.
Yeah, fucking... where the G1 Climax final's been held. Like, it's weird because it's such a step up because, like, we were expecting it to be Sumo Hall, weren't we? That's what we were going on about. But I guess with, like, Corona, assuming Corona's restrictions are still going to be in place, which I think, like, apparently the earliest we're going to be listed in Japan is February. That becomes about the size of a Sumo Hall. So...
My question to you, I mean, Stardom has come so far in this year. I mean, I know obviously with Corona, it's hard to,
and also like not only have they come far, they've been fighting a fucking uphill battle. Like you look at NDA Climax last year, of the 8 women in the main events, 4 of them are no longer with Stardom for completely unrelated reasons.
Yeah, I mean,
so like we've been building stars throughout this whole year, which is kind of great because now, like we were just talking about it, we have like. Say we were talking about the IWGP Championship. How many people do we see realistically being able to take that? Like 2 or 3. We could name probably 5 people off the top of our head. But yeah, we like literally just like Julia Kanami, Shuri, like everyone could feasibly win it, and I think that's one of the great things about Stardom.
What I was going to say was, do you see? I mean, Stardom have come a long way. Like I say, they've gone from. This year, they started by selling out Korakuen Hall for the first time, being on Wrestle Kingdom, and then to move on to arenas like Budokan Hall, which is mental to think that Stardom have got to that point next year. That's where they are. Mm-hmm. Presumably, they are confident that they are going to be able to sell the tickets for that venue. Otherwise, they wouldn't have booked it. Mm-hmm. Do you think that is irrelevant of who is on top, or do you think who is on top makes a difference? What I'm asking is if Mayu is still champion, it'll sell. That's fine. Does Utami currently, irrelevant of whether you like her or not, because I love Utami, she's top 3 for me.
I love Utami as well.
Does she have the drawing power to, let's assume, Chris, that by magic these Corona restrictions are gone. Let's say that you said the earliest that they are looking at being lifted in Japan is February. Let's assume that that's happened. Do you think with Utami on top, they are going to sell out Budokan Hall? You are going to need a fucking great match.
But we have to understand, I don't think New Japan managed to sell out Budokan with the G1s.
They're clearly confident. They are being so ambitious with that, and it's amazing. I'm so excited.
I literally think they booked it because if they did Sumo Hall, it wouldn't be that much more than we'll be getting a Korakuen now. So I think they're booking it because that's what you're going to get with a. But with Utami on top, I'm not sure. I really am not. But at the same time, is Stardom one of those places where the brand sort of, like, for example, how Progress in the UK could go anywhere with anyone on top and sell out because the Progress name is more synonymous with quality. But at the same time, we thought that with like New Japan and All Japan, and they go through ebb and flow. So I don't know, but like we have to understand, like, that's in what, January? That's still a couple months away. So
That's
even
March. That's the All-Star Cinderella. The actual anniversary show is January. That's All-Star Cinderella, but I think it's part of the anniversary tour.
Okay, so like it's about 6 months to, if Utami does win, about 6 months to build her and to build a feud that will make people want to go see it. So,
say it is Utami. Who would you like to see?
Momo.
Momo would be great.
That would be great. Import Aja Kong.
Fucking hell, that would sell.
That would. Candy no. You could build a if she beats Mayo, but they could build, if it's a really
Build
good match,
a rematch,
they could
yeah.
build a Takumi Aroa. Will Jungle be back by then? How long is Jungle meant to be out?
9 months. I think we worked out a couple of podcasts ago that it's basically going to be the 5-star. She's going to be back.
Okay, that's a shame because like I'd love seeing a Jungle return, but then again, we're not going to put Jungle in the main event of that. If they could somehow like fix Arisa's neck.
Meena Shirakawa? One thing I will say is, as you've just said, Stardom are in such a good position because you have got so many people you can just give the tap on the shoulder to, and they will go out and put on fucking classics. So whoever they have at the top, and I was playing devil's advocate with Utami, but whoever they have on top, it's going to be a stellar match that I have absolutely no doubt about, and I'm very, very, very excited at the premise.
I'm really looking forward to like seeing Stardom in Budokan. Because you think Budokan, you think like Jumbo versus Misawa, you think White versus Ibushi. Like it's so big. Like if you watch mostly WWE, especially if this was a year ago, you get so sort of numb to big arenas. But like Stardom, like it was a culture shock when you saw them in Yokohama.
Yeah, it was. It was absolutely.
It was, and like, yeah, because it was the same with like Noah. Because like that, I imagine for Noah fans, that with the current aesthetic, it was a culture shock seeing them in something as big as Sumo Hall last year. So, I'm looking. It's sort of like the same way I felt about Yokohama. I'm looking forward to it for that alone because it was amazing how much like the big arena setting lent itself to Stardom. And when we went to Yokohama, like how much bigger something like Shiri or Mayu felt, and like since Shiri's a freelancer, that absolutely had the danger of feeling like a run-of-the-mill defense. Just because why would they put it on a freelancer? But like the big arena really helped. So like literally, even if it's like only half full, I'm just looking forward to like that aesthetic, like that image.
So one of the G1 shows, so it was the block final of G1 29, was at Nippon Budokan, and it was 9,821 people.
What's the capacity?
That is a good question, Chris.
Actually, I'll check that against a All Japan card. Misawa versus.
Well, Final Burning in Budokan drew 17,000 people.
There we go. Superpower Series Tag 19 jump back drew 14,000. But like also with New Japan, they had much bigger production. Like All Japan basically didn't have an entrance way; he just came in through the crowd.
Irrelevant of what the attendance is, what is glaringly obvious is this is a huge step up for Stardom, and it is a huge signal of intent by the company, and next year is going to be very, very, very exciting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like the sort of sense of, and it's in Japan in general, so many companies are on the rise.
Dragon Gate.
Like, Dragon Gate's selling out bigger shows. Stardom, the current collaboration, well, they're owned by the same people between Noah, Tokyo Joshi, and DDT. Well, like they've explicitly said, we think because both Noah and DDT individually ran Sumo Hall the last year, in 2019. So, like, everything's on the rise. The only thing that's really declining right now is All Japan.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very exciting time. And like I say, I can't wait for that event, and it's 6 months away.
Yeah, like the general feeling I have around Japanese wrestling right now is sort of the same general feeling I had, like not as exciting because like when it was Britt Reza was here.
Yeah.
But like it's sort of that's the feeling I'm getting where like there was like the one king, but now that's sort of starting to suck. So other places are gaining traction.
Let's leave it there then, Chris. We'll be back next week, like I said, to look at the Sendai Cinderella show, where you'll find that all our predictions are probably wrong. And we will be looking at the new Landscape show as well, where the Artists of Stardom Championships and the Goddesses of Stardom Championships are on the line. Join us next week, same time, same place, 11 p.m. British Standard Time. You can talk to us on Twitter at the Stardom Cast. Check out the website, www.podmania.co.uk. Please go and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. It really, really does help the podcast out. Share with all your friends. Tell people about us. Like I say, it really helps us out, and we really, really do appreciate it. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Chris, where can they find you?
Shit, I didn't pick up Twitter account. At Tina, I don't know. Just follow Rob.
Lovely stuff, mate. Lovely stuff. We'll talk to you guys again next week, guys. See you later.
Right.